To be widely accepted, a psychological test must be standardized, reliable, and valid. So you hear the term standardized test thrown around a lot, but what does that actually mean? Standardization means that when a test was created, a group of people who were considered to be average, representative of the community or the population in general, took the test. And the test makers used that average group's scores to determine what would be considered good, poor, and average on that test, or high, low, medium, whatever words you want to use to describe that. So for all standardized test scores, what you're looking at is how the test taker compared to that first quote-unquote standard group. Reliability measures the extent to which a test yields consistent results. So if you take a personality test, for example, like some of you might have taken an Enneagram test or a Myers-Briggs test for whatever reason, you should get the same or at least similar results every time you take that test. Your personality doesn't change very drastically, especially in a short period of time. So if your score on that test or your results are drastically different, especially if you took it, a few days ago or a few weeks ago, that test is probably not a very good test. And then finally, you have validity, the extent to which a test measures or predicts what it's supposed to. So neither of those other measures matter if the test isn't measuring what it is supposed to measure. So if you're taking, let's say, a science quiz and you don't know anything about science, but you scored really well in it because you are a good artist, let's say, and you had to draw diagrams, then that test isn't very valid. It's measuring or predicting how good of an artist you are rather than how much you know about science, which is what it's supposed to be, testing. And then all tests should have a normal curve. And that means that the majority of test scores should be around average. Obviously, if the majority of test takers fall near the bottom or near the top of that curve, then that isn't really a true average. And that test is considered to be too hard or too easy. And take a look at the next slide for an illustration of what a normal curve looks like. Few people should score very high or very low on a test if it's a good test. Most of them should score in the middle. So I hope that makes sense. Take a look at the next slide for some clarification.